theme song.
The Major Spoilers Podcast is on the air. On the air. The Major Spoilers Podcast is on the air. On the air. Podcast.
I'm Matthew.
I'm Rodrigo.
And I'm Steven. If you're listening to the Major Spoilers Podcast.
The Major Spoilers Podcast is on the air.
There you go.
So what is the most disgusting movie you watched this week?
Well, now that we are into the main
Did you get
show,
a preview of the new Toxic Avenger with Peter Dinklage?
Oh no, I haven't received that yet. I think I could probably get one if I wanted to, because they have sent me the trailers and stuff for it. And of course, because we're friends with Ahoy Comics, I could probably get the movie if I asked.
Yeah, you should do it. You should do a review of it.
Yeah, I should try and do that. Okay. The grossest movie that I watched this week, by the way, welcome everybody to the Major Spoilers Podcast, Nerdling 365. Thank you so much for becoming a silver level patron this week. So this episode is for you. If you want to listen to the first half of the conversation about a scary movie that I watched this week, as well as Dummy 13 and the Mandela Effect, you need to sign up for our Patreon and get the Major Spoilers Podcast pre-show, just like Nerdling 365. So the grossest movie I watched this week was last night. I think also this just dropped within the last 6 days, is the new Fear Street movie from R.L. Stein. You know, you guys all know R.L. Stein, right? His Goosebumps stuff.
Jovial Bob.
So got when he started to move out of the Goosebumps stage, he started writing, I don't know how many books are in the series called Fear Street, but it's supposed to be a more older teenage kind of stuff, and this stuff that happens in this town where either it's Sunnyvale or I forget what the bad part of town is, but there was a 3-part movie that came out a couple of years ago called Fear Street, and then it was like 1978, 1998, and something else.
90, I think there was a 95 and then like an 83.
Well, it all ended in a 98.
Looks like 94, 78, 1666. 1666.
Yeah, 1666. So the last movie in that series takes you all the way back to 1666, and it's all interconnected with one another, which is really cool. So cool. This past week, and if you guys are into like teenage horror type stuff, I would say it's on the level. Maybe not. It's a little bit dumbed down from like a Halloween type stuff, but it's a slasher series. So the new one that dropped is Fear Street Prom Night or Prom Queen. And it is all these girls who are up for being prom queen, and on prom night, as we are waiting to find out who is going to be named prom queen, each of them is murdered in a more horrific and gross way. One of them might be beheaded, another one might be thrown into the school's aging electrical system, another one might be thrown off a staircase and have the railing go right through her, showering a fountain of blood up into the air. That is the grossest movie that I watched this week, and it's on Netflix. It's just a dumbed down, high school horror thing. I think it is rated mature. Well, obviously rated mature because they use bad language in this, and it is pretty gory. But I was kind of laughing along with it just because of how silly this. I mean, the first Fear Street series I thought was pretty good. This one was a little bit more silly than the last one.
Looks like there were 51 Fear Street books.
Yeah. And they all take place in what's the cities that it takes place? It's like twin cities. One is like sunny, bright, and happy, and that's where all the preppy people live. And then the other city is like this kind of depressed, where it's a classist system, right? So all the rich people live over in Sunnydale, and all the poor people live down here. Shady Side is where they live, and that's where the degenerates go, and where all the bad things happen. If you do get to watch the 3-movie run of the years, I thought that was very well done. This one,
is that the one with David Schwimmer?
No, you're thinking of, I think, Goosebumps. I think that's the Goosebumps series with David Schwimmer.
Okay.
I believe so. The prom night one, or the prom queen one. Yeah, David Schwimmer is in Goosebumps: The Vanishing on Disney Hulu.
Got it. Okay.
In the prom queen one, there's the outcast girl, and you kind of think this is going to end up like in a Carrie kind of situation. There's the outcast girl that nobody likes except for her friends. And they keep referring to an incident that happened involving her mother and her father, where apparently everyone believes that her mother killed her father on prom night and ruined prom for everybody or something. And they keep referring to that often enough in the movie that it would not surprise me that if we get a prequel to Prom Queen that takes place 20 years prior.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of like how they do that with this series, where they kind of intertwine things. And the interesting thing about the year Fear Street ones is it's the same actors, but in different roles in each of the movies.
Oh, I love that. That is such a cool gimmick.
Yeah, and it's not like Bly House and Secret on Hill House, those shows where he just uses the same actors in different roles. These are literally actors playing different versions of their lineage through time. Right. And I thought that was really well done. Cool. Yeah. It's a good it's a good series. But again, it's not Freddy, although it gets close to, I think, Freddy. It's not your what's the guy that has the bees that come at Candyman? It's not Candyman.
Candyman.
It's not like those kind of horror movies. Beetlejuice. It's not like those movies, but it is definitely geared towards the, I guess, the tween set. But I think everyone knows my distaste for horror kind of makes that the acceptable stuff, because I mean, I saw Barbarian, I saw Weapons. There's stuff that gets a little bit more intense in those movies that I will still watch. But if it's a like splatter porn stuff, I just, House of a Thousand Corpses, no thank you. Texas Chainsaw Massacre, no thank you.
Actually, it's not the latest. It's the second latest of the VHS series.
Oh yeah, there's a new one coming out. Did you know that?
Yeah, I did know that. And I that means I'm going to be too behind, because I was so off-put by the last one. And I think it was VHS 85 may have been the last one that I watched, but it just, there's something, there's a kind of a disturbing thing that happens for me in stories where it's not necessarily like the gore level. It's not, like a Herschel Gordon Lewis story. I will sit there and I will watch, Blood Feast and be like, okay, this is fun. Or that the recurring clip that kept popping up from the story of Ricky, where the guy is so good at kung fu that he crushes a guy's head and just explodes. Yeah. That could be kind of neat. But the problem for me with VHS, and I think it was 99 now, because I saw 94. Yeah, 99 is the one that grossed me out, because when you have that sort of thing, there has to be, and it's not even a question of grounding. It can be ludicrous. It can be over the top. It can be physically impossible, but you can't have, it can't be like blasé. You can't have horrifying gore and disgusting creatures of the id and things from another Cthulian dimension, and also have that, the Generation X whatever about it.
Yeah.
It's either horror or it's not. And this just felt like, you
gotta sell
watching.
It.
Yeah, but it felt like I was watching something like when I was a kid. God help us. I say kid, I was 22. Carl and I watched the first 5 the Faces of Death
stuff, yeah.
They're gross. They were gross.
Yeah, no, I would not watch those. I would not watch those. I mean, that thing that happened last week, reason I can't even stand to watch that.
And, I have successfully avoided that. But watching those movies in retrospect, I did it because, there's this whole mystique about what are the terrible things that you'll see. And the terrible things that I saw were either so realistic as to not necessarily be horrible, just sort of like, a far away shot of someone walking in front of a train, and then you see what may be body parts. That's gross. That's disturbing.
Yeah.
But then you also have the stuff that feels obviously gross and over the top gross and too much like, hey, we decided we're going to do this and see if we can make you people really sick. I don't know.
If it's that kind of horror, I don't like that. Although I did watch Brand New Cherry Flavor a couple of years ago, and that one is like, that starts to borderline onto gross, just to freak you out kind of gross, as opposed to it's gross because it's part of the story and makes it more fun. And some people, again, this
Right.
goes into your idea of what you think is fun and stuff. I'm trying to think of this other movie. I want to say it's called 1984, 1983, something like this. It's another like
Mhm.
teenage horror movie where something weird is in the neighborhood and it's trying to kill these
I don't
kids and they
look
have to solve the mystery of who's killing in the neighborhood, and it's probably their next door neighbor. And that one was pretty fun too, as far as a
Mhm.
horror movie goes.
Interesting.
Yeah, I want to say it's like, I'm trying to find it. I know it's on Netflix. Is it called 1984? I don't think it's called 1984.
Hmm.
And then have you guys watched Black Phone?
I loved
No.
Black Phone.
That
The
one's
Black
really good.
Phone. They're
That's-
doing a sequel.
Yeah, they're
to the
doing a
Black
sequel to
Phone.
that one, which I don't know how you're
I
going to do a
wanna know how
sequel to that. I know that.
it could be a prequel.
No, they
It's
definitely
Owen.
said it's a sequel.
It's Owen. I mean,
Yeah.
I honestly, at this point, I actually trust Owen more than I trust his old man,
Yeah.
because over the last year or so, my eyes have slowly opened to some really gross subtextual stuff that I can't believe I didn't pick up in the old man's stuff. And the thing that triggered it for me was when they were talking about this huge, gross, rolling, disgusting, fat blob of a man and how he was terrible and gross. And he must have weighed like 270, 280 pounds.
I know, right?
Yeah.
And you're like, wait
And
a minute.
just
Wait a minute.
every part of my body that was shaped like a finger just sort of flew up towards Maine. And I'm just like, Uncle Stevie, how could you do this to me? But yeah,
You know.
I
It's
know.
things were like that, unfortunately. I think I even mentioned it before on the show. I recently watched Homeward Bound again.
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
Uh-huh.
And so the animals are like, oh, we gotta get back home and stuff. And at some point they get caught by these like park rangers or whatever that are trying to help them. They're like, oh, we found the animals, but they don't know that, right? So they're freaking out. And they escape from there. Basically, Sassy busts them out with her cat powers of being able to like get on top of things. But
Right.
throughout all of it, there's one guy who is kind of chunky, and Sassy just relentlessly like fat shames the
Yeah.
whole time.
Yeah.
He's like, "Hey, Tubby, why don't you come over here?" It's like, "Oh, look out!"
They do that
Mm.
They do that in Stand By Me as well. Of course, that kid
Yeah.
grew up to
Yeah.
marry Rebecca Romaine's.
Yeah,
Rebecca
doesn't that
Romaine.
piss you off?
No. The movie I'm thinking of is Summer of '84. It's set in the 1980s, where a group of teenage friends suspect their police officer neighbor is a serial killer and try to gather evidence by spying on him. Yeah, I wonder what network it's on. It's not. It doesn't say it is on. It must have been on Netflix because I know that's where I saw it. But apparently, you can find it on Tubi.
Tubi? Yeah, Tubi's not bad. Tubi is free, though, I think, at least
Yeah, it
Yeah.
is.
for me.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Because there's one that I thought was free, but it turns out it's part of my Hulu subscription. And then there's
Sure.
one that I just keep signing up for the trial, and then the trial expires, and they don't have any of my payment information. And so the trial expires, and then I come back and go, I'd like to watch this movie. They're like, you can sign up for a free trial. I'm like, okay, that's good.
No, that's nice that you're caught into that kind of a loop. Yeah, VHS Halloween is coming up. That's the sequel. And that one is coming out on
Halloween.
Well, this
Tomorrow?
one says release date VHS Halloween, September 19th, 2025 at Fantastic Fest, and then
It's
October
Friday.
and then October 3rd for the rest of the United States.
Are you guys
I'm not a
interested
big
at
fan
all
of
in
the
the
VHS stuff. So
Are you guys interested at all in the new upcoming season of Stranger Things?
I haven't.
Or is everybody off that train?
no, I'm not off the train because I want to see how it wraps up. I guess my biggest problem, this is more of a problem with Netflix than it is with Stranger Things, is that Netflix, and I don't know if they've changed their model. I know that they've cut back on some of their international production stuff. But they would wait. They would let all of the very first season of Stranger Things be shot, edited, and then they dump it all on Netflix all at once, and then they wait to see what the audience reaction was, which of course is like 6 months later or 3 months later before it blows up into this huge phenomena. And then Netflix is like, well, I don't know. Do we want a second season? Do you got a second season? And they wait like 6 months before they say, go ahead and start writing the next season. And then that's another 2-year process. 2-year process. So by the time we get to this 5th season, it's been 15 years.
Oh, it's been forever. And I mean, that was probably a bigger issue the first couple of times because the kids just super grew up.
Mm-hmm.
But this season or last season ended in a cliffhanger.
Yeah.
And I'm like, everybody's going to be like 5 or 6 years older by the time the next season starts. Like, it's fine, but if you, it probably we won't notice too much. But if you binge it, then it's like,
we're gonna notice a big difference because like Millie Bobby Brown is like married, and I think did I see something where she's about to have announced she's having a kid or something with with her husband and like Finn Wolfhard.
If she had a kid or if they adopted a kid.
Yeah, I don't remember either. And then Finn Wolfhard is like 600 million years old. Like Millie Bobby Brown. the other thing is, she's got her own production company right now, and she's doing she's got that series Sherlock Holmes' sister or something. Enola Holmes. They did that first movie and it did really well. Now they're just getting ready to release the second movie, and I want to say that's like 3 or 4 years ago as well.
It's the third. They've done 2 movies.
I forgot. I haven't seen the second one then. But yeah, she's just like older, and so it's really hard to say, oh, here's a middle schooler or freshman in high school. The first season of Stranger Things came out in 2016, so now they've got to be. I know they were already older than their ages that they portray in the show, but they'd be pushing like 30 by now.
Stranger Things, the problem with Stranger Things is that it's always wanted to like have their cake and eat it too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or supposedly originally it was conceived as I was expecting as an anthology series.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like Stranger Things 1 was going to be that thing about like the secret institute and the upside down, and then the next thing was going to be some other completely different 80s riff, right?
Yeah.
But it was so successful, they were like, no, we got to bring him back. And then like really locked themselves into the stories of these kids. Like they could have actually done something
different,
similarly cool and interesting if they had kept the same kids, but they had moved them forward through time, right? If it's like, okay, the next one happens 5 years later, now it's 1990, right?
Yeah. And that's what Fear Street did. Fear Street did that, and they did it really well. Of course, they made all those movies back to back to back.
Yeah, back to back.
But you
could have had that opportunity to do that, right?
Yes. Well, that's Netflix meddling, and then of course COVID, and then of course writer's strike. So that was the big thing that really hampered the current season of Stranger Things. Is all this world crap. So I'm interested in seeing it only to get a definitive conclusion, but I'm not on the edge of my seat, hopping up and down, and I certainly am not thrilled with their release plans where they're going to do like 2 or 3 in 1 month, and then you wait a month, and then another 2 or 3, and then the last one comes out. I'm not a fan of that either. Either release them all at once or release them on a weekly schedule. So if I see it, I see it, but it's not something I'm going out of my way for. Matthew, what about you?
I have not seen any of the Stranger Things previously, and yet somehow I feel like I know the plot of the whole thing and all the characters. Even if it's the first season, like the various parodies.
The first season is just, I think, brilliant as far as the references that it's dropping, making you feel like you're in that time period, bringing in all the tropes of a 1980 to 83, because I know 84, because it takes place during that second Reagan election period. So it just hits all the right buttons for that first season. By the time we got to the third, and even though everything was digital effects, they made it feel practical in the way that they shot it and everything. But then on the third season, they just kind of were like, yeah, we're using special effects, and we're just going to go over the top with it. And I was just like, oh yeah, you just instantly took me out of the story. So, and then they introduced characters I don't give 2 craps about.
Well, Stranger Things just suffers from like every possible issue.
Yeah.
They introduce a bunch of characters, and some of them are cool. Some of them you don't care about. Some of them are cool. And it's like, okay, now there are 20 characters in this stuff in this show about a little town, right? It's like, and some of these characters are important. Some of these characters did things last season when they were introduced, and now we want to see them again. We want to see them do something cool now, but it's very difficult to now write a little team of 20 kids, of various ages. So some of them kind of get written out, or they're given kind of like these side plots that are not very satisfying. It's like Stranger Things just runs into like every writing problem that there is, big retcons where they have to like go back and be like, actually, that thing that was the very first thing that was the inciting incident that happened the first time, it wasn't like this. It was actually like this, so that we can introduce this bad guy. And it's like, okay, well, that's fine, I guess. That's fine.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm probably going to watch a bunch more spooky movies over the next couple of months, because it is the spooky season, and I do like Halloween. There was one that I watched last year. It's not Candyman, but it's this thing where this town, you guys can just type in the description and figure out what it is. This town, well, wait a minute. Maybe I can just find it on Apple TV really quick. Every year, this town locks up all the boys of a certain age in the neighborhood, in the town. And this is set in like the 1950s. And starves these kids for like 3 or 4 days. And then, maybe it is Halloween, they unleash these boys to go running out and finding this scarecrow pumpkinhead guy. And they have to stop him before he gets to the church, or else the town will die. And these kids are just ripping through town. And of course, the scarecrow guy is killing kids. And then they just have to stop him before he gets to the church, or else the town will have a year of bad luck or something. And then the kid that wins becomes rich and famous and gets to go off to a town, and the parents get to get in a nice fancy house. Yeah, I mean that's the part. That one is borderlines on the grossest movie that I've seen recently.
I saw that a couple of years ago, and now I can't.
Yeah, I'm trying to find it really quick. I don't see it in my.
Called Stop the Scarecrow.
That's something like that.
Scarecrow.
Let's see if I can just type in "Stop the Scarecrow." Scary movie, 2020s.
Wow, nobody
Dark Harvest. There it is. It brought it up. Dark Harvest is the film. Came out in 2023. There you go. So watch Dark Harvest. I kind of want to watch. I kind of want to watch that again. To be honest, it kind of was like,
ooh, should it? Yeah, it had like kind of a funnish, kitschy aspect to it.
Yeah.
And it had that one beautiful woman in it. What's her name?
I could remember. Question.
Amiri.
Okay. We can use this as a question of the week. Best chocolate bar ever, and these are your only options. Best chocolate bar ever. These are your only options. Snickers, Reese's Peanut Butter Cups, or Reese's Peanut Butter Cups, depending on who you are. Almond Joy, Three Musketeers, Kit Kat, Mr. Goodbar, Baby Ruth, Hershey's, Mounds, or Heath Bar. Which of those is the best chocolate bar ever, Rodrigo?
And the Hershey's is your standard
just your
milk
Hershey's
chocolate.
Milk chocolate bar, yeah.
Okay. Out of these, I think I would say Kit Kat. I think that crunchy cookie thing, I think, is both. You get plenty of chocolate. Kit Kats tend to be smaller, how they're presented, than most candy bars. But they trick you into thinking you're getting a lot because you get 2 of them.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think I like Three Musketeers. I like most of these. But sometimes it's like, do I feel like coconut? And if the answer is no, then like a bunch of these fall off. So for me, it's going to be Kit Kats.
All right, Matthew, what about you? What is the best chocolate bar ever based on those 10 candy bars that I listed?
Can you list them again, because you lost me at a certain point?
Snickers, Reese's Peanut Butter Cups, Almond Joy, Three Musketeers, Kit Kat, Mr. Goodbar, Baby Ruth, Hershey's, Mounds, and Heath.
So of those 10,
yep.
If you say which is the one that I would be mad about not having anymore, it's Almond Joy.
No. Which is the best chocolate bar of those?
Almond Joy.
You love the Almond Joy?
One. Yeah, I would miss the Almond Joy most of those 10.
Okay.
Yeah,
I think Snickers. I think for me, Snickers all day, every day. And I say that not having had a Snickers in 6 months.
Almond Joy is like does it have coconut?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And it's
coconut
Joy
and
has the almond,
like a big almond on top, and then chocolate
covered
on top
in
of that.
Yep.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
And they come in little pairs. So like when you buy an Almond Joy,
they come in a wrapper. There's just 2 of them. They came in a pair. Who would want to eat a pair before you ate an Almond Joy?
2 little like ovoid spectacles, roughly the size of a human
fun
thumb.
Size. Yeah, fun size bar or whatever they're called.
All right,
but they're really good, and they have everything that you need. Depending on how you eat them, you can like emulate the other.
My problem with the Almond Joy is that if you take that whole thing and you pop it into your mouth and you bite down, you don't know where the almond is in that bite. And so for me, more often than not, it hits the back of my jaw, where the space where your wisdom teeth used to be. And so I'm always hitting that solid almond on the pointy end. And I'm just like, now don't get me wrong. I do love an Almond Joy. It is really good. But if you're like, Steven, you can only eat one of these forever and it is the best bar ever, I would say a Snickers. It's kind of got everything you want in it. Yeah.
Okay, let me ask you something.
Okay.
You guys know what a cherry mash is?
Yes, and I hate them.
Yes, they're good.
Is that a candy bar?
I mean, it's covered in chocolate, so in this case,
a Reese's is not a candy bar either. Reese's is a pair of discs. I think you could make the argument that a Mounds or an Almond Joy aren't a bar, but I think they count because they're a pair of bars. But no, a cherry mash is like
gross,
a blob.
Yeah, it's like a little. It's like
cherry surrounded in a fondant
it's like a macaroon.
Not quite.
Yeah, I feel like it's a macaroon. Is a macaron is a
let's see. Chopped roasted.
Why do you love the cherry mash?
I was just curious. I've seen them around. I've had them, and I think they're okay. I like, as I've said on the top 5 that has either come out or going to come out. I'm a big fan of like fruity candy. So if they're like, here's some chocolate, I'm like, great. And they're like, here's some chocolate with some like bright fruity thing in the center, then I'm like, fantastic. So I've had the cherry mash before. I think it's okay. I feel like it's in like grocery stores and I see it all the time. And I just wanted to be like, okay, well, like, does a candy bar have to be a bar? Does cherry mash count? Because it's if you think like, how is a cherry mash different from say an Almond Joy? And it's like it's really not that different. Obviously the filling is different,
thicker, yeah,
but the idea is the same.
Now the question is, it is a candy bar. The Wikipedia page listed as cherry mash is an American candy bar, but it's not doesn't list it as a chocolate bar, which is the question that this is saying the best chocolate bar.
It does have a chocolate coating, but the innards are fondant. And one thing about the cherry mash, I make fun of Steven because for years Steven and I have had on and off the show. Shut up. You do not get to come at me with your mean. Anyway, we've had the discussion about how Steven remembers Pizza Hut being much better when he was younger. And, the question of, is that Steven aging or Pizza Hut changing? The answer is actually both.
It's both.
But I remember cherry mash from my childhood, and I had them very rarely. I didn't eat a lot of candy when I was a kid because I was raised by my grandmother, and she would kick your butt.
My parents were stingy.
I literally grew up.
They were cheap.
I grew up on grape nuts. Okay, grape nuts and ice milk. That's not even
rich.
A thing.
You're rich, man.
Shut up! Don't even.
No, like grape nuts were like expensive. That's an expensive box of an expensive box of cereal. I had like you have your choice. Would you like Chex Mix? Would you like corn Chex? Or would you like wheat Chex? One of those 3 flavors of Chex. And by the way, if you would like something to get rid of that awful crunchy taste. Please go open that box of powder and make your own milk, please.
Yeah. 5 of us lived in a cardboard box by the side of the road, Stephen.
I don't know. There are so many reasons people like look at me weird when I'm like, listen, I don't drink chocolate milk because one time in, I think it was high school, we were in the lunch line. I was super thirsty, just dying of thirst. They punched my meal ticket. I grabbed that chocolate milk, opened it up, and started chugging it because I was so thirsty. And halfway through, I realized, oh, this chocolate milk is sour, like chunky sour. And ever since then, I've never drank chocolate milk. I think because of, and I do enjoy a whole white milk, vitamin D fortified whole. But I think it's the combination of growing up with powdered milk and the rotten chocolate milk that I just don't drink. I just don't drink milk or milk. I don't drink that either. But yeah, Carnation instant milk was that red box with that carnation on it. Yeah.
Luxury.
Yeah.
But when I was younger, the cherry mash had a sour cherry flavor. It had like sour fruit flavor. Whereas now, the last time I remember having one, it's just sweet.
Right.
And I feel like having that kind of that sour, that little bite inside of the chocolate. And I think it's just a milk chocolate with like peanut slurred on it. But the cherry mash is interesting because it's impossible to eat without getting all over everything. And it is literally just a big lump. And so it will fall into your stomach and just sit there like a big lump and you'll regret it.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I feel like personally it was different when we were younger.
Yeah. My personal has this changed or have I changed is Squirt. You guys know the soda Squirt?
The soda, yeah. That's definitely
it's like
changed.
Well, good to know. It's what is it? Tangerine? It's not tangerine. It's like a grapefruit.
Grapefruit
flavor or something like that. Yeah, it's like grapefruit soda, right? I remember having it as a kid, and it was like sour or like bitter, and being like, "Ew, who would want a soda that is not just as sweet as possible?" Right? And it's like recently, I was like, if you go to the back of the gas station where they keep like the Jarritos and all the other like weird stuff, that's where they have the Squirt. And I was like, "Oh, Squirt! I remember hating this. Let me buy one and drink it." And it just has like a hint of that sour, bitter flavor, and it's mostly sweet.
Yeah.
And I'm like, did my palate just change to the point where I just enjoy sour stuff more?
What year did you come to the United States?
I came to the United States in, I want to say 1994.
Did you have Squirt in Mexico?
Yes.
Okay, so the original formula of Squirt, which, as we've previously determined by Rodrigo himself, everything is slower or time shifted.
Sure.
Time shifted in Mexico. The original 77 formula was made with 100% grapefruit and sugar sweetener, real sugar sweetener. Probably in Mexico for sure, real sugar sweetener. They changed that.
Cane sugar.
Yeah, they changed that in 83 to make it from grapefruit concentrate, meaning less than 1 to 2% of the entire drink is grapefruit, actual grapefruit. And they moved to high fructose corn syrup instead of cane sugar. Also, if you drank the Diet Squirt, that was the first drink to introduce with aspartame. So one of those three things, Rodrigo, probably is the reason why you don't like the taste of Squirt today.
I bet that even though I probably had it in the late 80s, I bet that I probably did have the like full
whole grapefruit.
Yeah, because there even when I was a kid, there were soda bottler companies in Mexico, so they weren't like importing in the Squirt.
Well, and I think it was about maybe 10 years ago, the Dr. Pepper people were actually bought out by Keurig. And I will tell you that Dr. Pepper tastes different under Keurig than it did.
It does, but I will say that I drink the sugar-free Dr. Pepper, and
you drink the zero?
Yeah, the zero. Yeah, the zero one. I don't drink anything with diet because, again, like I just said with Squirt, back in the day, anything that was diet had aspartame in it. Now we know aspartame is a bad thing. So anything diet I tend to stay away from because I do think it tastes really weird. But the zero sugar one, Dr. Pepper Zero, I think tastes like the Dr. Pepper I remember as a kid.
My wife is addicted to Dr. Pepper Zero to the point where literally we'll do 3 or 4 6-packs a week. Oof. And it's just her drinking it. And I'm just like, how do you not implode? But it's not coffee. So it's, there's some sort of water in it. So I feel like it's fine. But
all right. Yeah, my wife's main vice is Dr. Pepper. So I feel that.
Yeah. I mean, it's just, I have a lot of vices, but it's just, and anytime there's liquid, drink the liquid. Here's some sweet tea that has water in it. Drink this, but yeah.
I've got a conundrum. Yeah. So
why would you have a conundrum?
Major Spoilers has been around for almost 20 years. And in that time, publishers, most of the publishers, have been very gracious in sending us review copies of all of the single issues. And so I have 20 years of single issue digital review copies, PDFs. Is what they are. Right. All of them watermarked, so don't ask if you, dear listener, can have them, because I'm not going to do that because they're all watermarked and I don't want to get banned. But I've been saving these. This is how we do a lot of our trade paperback stuff. This is how we do our individual reviews on Major Spoilers. So I just have this. Of course, I've got a hoarder mentality when it comes to digital content. I have a hoarder's mentality. I'm trying to debate this hard drive that we're recording this show on right now is almost out of hard drive space. And I don't know whether to just go back and delete all the old stuff or keep it. But in the terms of the digital comic collection, I have terabytes and terabytes of data. I am trying to decide at one point, I don't know, maybe 10, 15 years ago, I decided instead of just dumping everything into a single folder, I'm going to organize everything by, and you guys know this, but the listeners don't. I organize everything by month. And so, like, this week, it'll be like Marvel Comics for September 17th, 2025, because that's how Marvel sends them to us. And that's how I share them with the rest of our contributors at Major Spoilers so that they can review them for the show or for the site or whatever. And I've just been dumping those, like, September 17th, 2025 goes into the 2025 folder.
Sure.
The question is, should I be organizing them by title? Should all of the Captain Americas go all into a Captain America folder, which are all in the C folder on the drive? Or should I put all of the Marvel titles inside of a Marvel folder so that if I'm looking for a specific Spider-Man title, I can go to the Marvel folder, go find the Spider-Man folder, and then each of those Spider-Mans are organized by their own Spider-Mans. Amazing, Superior, Family, Nocturnal, etc.
Yeah.
I know, and this is the question for you, Matthew, because you do this at a comic book store. But here's the thing: when we read Radiant Black, right? There is a reading order for Radiant Black that also includes Rogue Sun, Pink Girl, and Jeff. And then
the dead lucky.
That's like a deep cut. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen. Pink Lady and Jeff. Go look that one up. But yeah, so you've got.
Don't do it.
I mean, it's a show from the 70s. It's somewhat racist, meaning that it was the 70s. It was very racist. So the question is, when you have something that's in that reading order, Cowl, as you said, the Deadly Dozen, all that stuff. Do you put them all in a Radiant Black folder in the order that you're supposed to read them? Or does Radiant Black go in the Radiant Black folder and Rogue Sun goes in the Rogue Sun folder? And hopefully when you get to the part where you're supposed to go to Rogue Sun, you remember to go to that folder to find Rogue Sun. And again, this is a digital collection, which is different than the comic book store where you would want to organize everything alphabetically.
Right. So here's the thing. Speaking as someone who has recently had to migrate to Windows 11, which alphabetizes differently than I'm used to. I'm going to give you the actual answer, and then I'm going to give you the answer, which is really what you can probably afford to do? The answer is this. You get all of the Massive-Verse titles. You need to put them together. In order to have them in order, you're going to have to preface each title with a 3-digit number.
They all have a 2 or 3-digit number in front of them.
You're going to have to be like Radiant Black number 1001 up to
No.
Radiant
It's
Black
actually, for the reading order, at least on the Mac, it's 01 Radiant Black, whatever, 0. Actually, it's Cowl. It's 00 Cowl 1.
You got to have 3 digits, because if you break,
if it goes up to 100,
you're going to go back, and it will. It will.
It might.
Now, take it from me. I've been doing 10 things for 10 years, and I will tell you that you're going to have to spend an awful lot of time. You're going to have to go in and literally either put things like physically in the order you want and number that order the way you want it, or, and I feel like what you really have the time for is probably just the titles. Here's all of the Captain America. Here's all the Spider-Man. And
that's kind of the way I'm thinking. So I've gone in, I haven't gone up and cleaned up everything, but I do have right now. Well, yeah, sometimes I'll spend 2 or 3 hours on a Sunday just going through and moving things around. So right now I have 2006 through 2025. I have individual folders for those years. And if a comic came out, like I said, Marvel, September 17th, 2025, it goes into the 2025 folder. But I've also started putting things like, hey, here's titles that I don't know the publisher of off the top of my head, but it starts with A. So I'm throwing it in a folder called A. And then for Marvel and DC, I've created folders specifically for them because I think it's easier for me to go to the DC Comics folder if I'm looking for a Batman title, as opposed to going to did I put this under D for DC Comics, or did I put this under B for Batman? And what if I want my Batman and my Detective Comics? Better to keep all these publishers grouped together. Like all of our Legion of Superheroes stuff is all in a folder called Legion of Superheroes. And then I have things like, I have a category for adult comics, which, we do have some publishers that trade in the adult comic trade, which is fine. I don't have anything against that. But I want that separated from, the Marvel comics. Now, I will say that I do use an application called Comic Reader. It's great because it will do PDFs, and it organizes everything. So, like, I could just open up the, what is it called, YC Library, and it'll go through and it'll find all of the titles and folders in a thing, and it'll create little thumbnails for the covers. So if I'm looking for something from 2025, I could just type in the name of the title and it'll show up in the search, or I could just scroll through if I'm looking for something. The problem is publishers like Marvel, September 17th, 2025, don't always name their files. Like, for example, Image Comics, September 10th, 2025, Radiant Black _37 _review. That's the file that Image Comics sent us. If you look for, let's go to my comic book folder here on my local hard drive, Marvel Comics, September 17th, 2025, DPOOLWOLV 225009 _review copy. Now that's
okay.
Now, is that Deadpool versus Wolverine? Is that Deadpool's versus Wolverine? We know that it's issue number 9, but what is it? So it does some weird numbering, or does some weird file naming, I think, to throw off people who are pirates, who may be out looking for, like, here's the Phoenix code, PHX 20024-015 _review copy. And I don't like, especially when you get into the, I'm guessing this one is Star Wars, Boba Fett, Black, White, and Red, I think is that one. Is that the right answer? Boba Fett, Black, White, and Red. Yeah. That's out this week. I don't know. So what I have time to do is I would like to see, the problem is if I group everything by publisher, what happens when Boom Studio loses the Power Rangers license, or probably more realistically, what happens when IDW Publishing loses the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles license and Boom Studios picks up the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles license? Then what happens? Do I keep all the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles under IDW, or do I move all of them over to Boom Studios? Or do I just create a folder called Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, dump everything in there from everybody? What do you think, Rodrigo?
I think, well, so first off, there are programs that keep track of your comic book collection.
Yeah.
So that's an option, and then you can keep, as long as you enter there what the comic is called, you can use the program to reference it and then be like, okay, let me just do a search for, PHX 1138 and bring up whatever it is, right?
The lesser known George Lucas movie, yeah.
Yes. It's Jean Grey. It's anyway.
Jean Grey and Scott Summers on the run in a dystopian future. They run out. They finally make it out of the
by Toto.
Yeah, they finally make it out of the underground bunker, only to find an old man, and they're like, "He's so old. Teach us, old man."
Carousel.
Yep, there you go. I've successfully merged 3 movies together for you. There you go.
Great, fantastic.
Yeah.
Robert Duvall is Cyclops. So
I would watch that.
Actually, that would have been decent back in back in those days. Yeah. So I have a lot of, obviously not to the degree that you have comic books, but I have a fair amount of like gaming books in PDF format. Now I've got all my stuff for Exalted. I got all my stuff for Lancer. I got stuff for Shadowrun and things like that. So a lot of the time, what I end up doing is I do end up kind of hand numbering it because often, sometimes it's okay to do it by what the publishers do, but sometimes the publishers are not consistent.
Yeah.
For example, I want to say like Exalted, their PDFs were like, the first book was like Exalted 3 for Exalted 3rd edition. And then their next big splat book was like EX3 the Dragon Blooded or whatever. And then the next one was like the Lunars EX3 and then a number, right? So it's like I have to go in and be like, okay, well, I want these to either be in alphabetical or printing order, neither one of which is happening with these extensions, right? So I have to like figure out what I want to title them so that within the folder they will come out right, and so that I know where they are. I recently I have a just an application for reading in my tablet, and I had all of my Lancer books, and they were basically in release order because I jumped on Lancer when the core book came out, and I've been buying them in order, but I didn't realize that the reason why they were in order is simply because they were set up in download order.
Oh, right.
So
yeah.
I did some sort of big refresh, and now everything's alphabetical, which means like my visual ability of where everything else, and we're talking like 8 books, like it's not that big of a deal. But nothing is where I remember it being. Like I had like muscle memory about where things were. And now I have to like go through, look, where's that thing? Okay, here it is. Whereas before I just knew, like, for example, that the core book was the very first book. So I've had to go back and at the very least change the core book so that it's like the very first thing, because I want it to be the very first thing.
Yeah.
So even for something small like that, it can be very inconvenient. But I would say separate them out by franchise, not by company, and hand number them within their folders.
For the most part, all the issues that we have a number. If we're doing Fantastic Four, they have that number. Now, if I'm dumping all of every Fantastic Four all into the same folder, most of the files also have a year attached into the name. So that's keeping them separated.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's the biggest problem is I've got a 14 terabyte NAS drive, and I've got 13 and a half terabytes used up. So I'm running out of space for these damn digital comics. And if I'm going to move to a bigger drive, which I got to buy, or someone can buy for me. I know many of you out there missed my birthday this year. Then
I wouldn't say I missed it, Bob.
A 20 terabyte external. I'm not talking about you. 20 terabyte external drive, NAS drive, would be able to give me enough breathing room for another couple of years worth of comic book storage. And that's the real, I mean, ultimately, I'm on a NAS drive, so if a drive crashes, I'm not losing everything.
Right.
Would it be the end of the world if I lost these comics? No, because half of them I'll never get back to, but you never know. Someday someone might say, hey, Steven, remember, this Bone Crusher comic from Dynamite Entertainment? We should review that on the show. And then I'm like, oh, that's right. Because there was a year where I lost a bunch of hard drives in 2016 where a whole bunch of 2016 comics went bye-bye. And sometimes I'll go through the collection. I'm like, oh, yeah, that's when I lost a bunch of comics. It's ultimately not a big deal. It's a first world problem, but there you go.
I mean, it's, like, again, it's like you are who you are, right?
Yeah.
Like this is an issue for you because most people don't have that many comics and don't get, for example, comics that they're not interested in, right?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I'm sure we get plenty of comics, and it's like, okay, well, Rodrigo's going to review that one, Matt's going to review that one. I don't care. I'm doing other stuff right now.
I mean, there are some that we get solicited that I'm just like, I know nobody at Major Spoilers would review this comic just because.
Sure.
But I keep them because I'm a digital hoarder.
But you keep them. Well, you're a digital hoarder, and you know what? It's an archive. Like it's worth keeping. Like we're not like we're not academics, but we're sort of like. I mean, we are kind of comic
adjacent.
We're like comic. I mean, I guess you are an academic, Steven.
Yes, I am. Speaking of, digital hoarder Steven. Digital hoarder and Steven sitting in class yesterday with my After Effects class, and we're going through making some graphs and charts in After Effects and animating them. And I was like, I remember one class, I did this whole thing where we were tying all of the data to a spreadsheet. And I was like, in the middle of class, I was like, I wonder if I still have that file. Unfortunately, I keep everything related to my university work on the cloud. And I was starting to scroll through and I'm like, yeah, here's the file. And I open it up. I'm showing the kids and I'm like, this file is from the class I taught in 2015. And they all kind of stop and look at me. I'm like, yes, I'm that old. And none of you were born in 2015, although they were born.
Yep.
But that's just the kind of hoarder is I can find. And that's why, on this hard drive that's filling up with this show is, do I delete 20 years of files that we are never going to go back and use so I can free up some hard drive space? So we have 20 years of things. I mean, I literally have a bunch of cold storage hard drives that have stuff from the last 20 years. This drive probably has the stuff from the last 3 years on it. But it's like,
I mean,
at some point you just have to say, okay, I have to just give this stuff up because, again, I'm never going to access it. If people need to go find the MP3 files, they are all up on Libsyn, and Libsyn has that stuff locked down. Sure. Do I fear that Libsyn will someday crash and go away? Well, if they crash, they're going to have backups. They are automatically back up everything. And if they're like, hey, we're going out of business, you got 48 hours to get your stuff and go, I can download all of those shows. Now, I don't have the individual files, like my track, your track, Matthew's track, Rob's track, Dr. Brad's track. I don't have anything like that.
But you already cleaned those up when you uploaded them.
Yeah. So it's like, why? Why do I keep this? I don't know. Anyway, hey, if you love the Major Spoilers podcast, dear listeners, if you love the Major Spoilers podcast, here's the truth. This show only exists because of listeners like you. Patreon is how we keep the mics on and the comics coming in and the episodes free for everyone. For just $5 a month, less than the cost of one comic, you get bonus shows, behind-the-scenes chats, and early access to episodes. And you're not just supporting us, you're joining the team that keeps this community alive. So sign up at patreon.com/majorspoilers, and let's keep making awesome stuff together.
In this economy,
speaking of, I did get a review copy. Well, this is because it's Marvel, but I got a copy of Deadpool Batman #1, the big comic that everybody is talking about. I read this on Monday when Marvel sent us the review copies. It's good. I like it. The Batman Deadpool story, the main story, there's like 3 backup stories. There's Wonder Woman and Captain America. There is Crypto and Jeff, and then there is Daredevil and Green Arrow, written by Kevin Smith.
Crypto and Jeff was the shorter reboot.
That was the one after they got rid of Pink Lady. I rather enjoyed a lot the Deadpool Batman team up, or not really a team up, but the crossover story. The weird thing is, if you read the Deadpool in Ryan Reynolds' voice, it makes the comic a lot funnier.
Sure.
But also when you read it in Ryan Reynolds' voice with that weirdness that is Deadpool, it kind of makes Batman stories feel ridiculous. Like, like Deadpool busts into Wayne Manor and he's like, "Hey, you're a billionaire. I suppose you need somebody to wipe out. Billionaires need people to kill. I'm a bounty hunter, or a gun for hire. I'll take care of it." And Bruce Wayne is like, "No, I assure you, I do not do these things." And it just makes it feel really weird just how ridiculous a Batman story is. And I don't know how to explain it more without giving away all the plot points of this piece. But just
like
how...
having Deadpool there points out how ridiculous a Batman story is.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And not in a way where Deadpool is breaking the fourth wall and go, "Hey, I secretly know that Bruce Wayne is Batman." No, it's just like, "Oh, you've got a butler. Oh, I'm sure he calls you Master Wayne," and all that stuff. Nudge, nudge, wink, wink kind of stuff. And it's like, oh, yeah, that is what happens. And that is kind of funny. And that is kind of weird that Batman would do those kind of things. So I don't know. And the Joker is the big villain in the story. So, keep that in mind, too.
Mm-hmm.
I recently read some of the Deadpool manga.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you guys have seen that.
Let me look in my catalog. I'm sure I have it somewhere.
You probably do. And every once in a while it would have like a really good joke. Like it was drawn in a manga style. So it's like you flip the page and Deadpool is like looking straight at you and he's like, "You already flipped the page? That explosion in the last page took some intern like 30 days to draw." And you just flip right past it. You callous bastard, right? So it's like, okay, all right, that's a good manga specific joke that Deadpool is making. That's great. But so much of it was he's just pointing out the tropes as they happen.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, okay, man, I know, I get it that it's like breaking the third wall or whatever, the fourth wall, but man, like it's just so tiring. Like, can I decide whether this trope is trite for myself, Deadpool, without you? Is like some of it I thought is like, oh, this is a good idea, and then Deadpool is like, well, this is just so typical of shonen manga, blah blah blah, and I'm like, okay, all right.
Yeah, that's not quite what happens here, but I mean, I would encourage you guys, because you do have access to the review copy. You probably will not have access to the review copy of Batman Deadpool because DC never sends us anything anymore. But Deadpool Batman, go check it out. I thought it was very humorous and very kind of. I don't think it was the intention of, because Marvel is releasing this one, I don't think it was the intention of Marvel to make DC's characters kind of look weird. But that's how it came off, because I know that DC is also overseeing this stuff and saying, hey, wait a minute now. So that there has to be some back and forth going on. But I just thought it was an interesting issue. We haven't seen crossovers like this in 20 years between Marvel and DC?
15, give or take, yeah.
What was the last one?
The last one I can think of is Green Lantern Silver Surfer.
Oh, right. Yeah, but I mean like a big company-wide thing that's going on. But I kind of wish.
Wow,
I kind of wish.
Done that like twice.
Yeah, I'm kind of hope that the success of Deadpool, Batman, Deadpool is enough for them to say, hey, instead of making Wonder Woman, Captain America a backup story, let's make it its own 4-issue miniseries, 2 and 2.
Right.
Or hey, we didn't do Dead Man, and who's the equivalent on the Marvel side?
The Marvel equivalent of Deadman?
Yeah.
Possibly My first thought is Ghost Rider.
Okay, yeah, Ghost Rider and Dead Man. Let's have them team up. Or Stilt Man and any of Batman's, rogues gallery.
I think it's wonderful, though, that every time this has happened, it's been because of, and then eventually falling apart because of Justice League Avengers, because in the early 80s, it was all about JLA Avengers and that fell apart. And then 2004, JLA Avengers was finally released. You're like, and then after George's passing a couple of years ago, they re-released JLA Avengers in the big giant format thing.
Yeah,
with some of the proceeds going to help support his family. And that I'll give you 100% certainty. That is what actually brought around those talks about let's do Batman Deadpool again. So I'm just, you just have to wait until the fight comes around. But for me,
I thought this was well handled.
Rather see Captain America Wonder Woman than the Superman Captain America that we saw in 94.
No, this one definitely, the backup story for Deadpool Batman is Captain America Wonder Woman. And I believe I kind of flipped through that because I was like, well, I wanted to read the main story so we could talk about it a little bit tonight. Right. But it looks like it's set during World War II. The Crypto and Jeff bit is just a fun little like Scotty Young kind of tale. I don't know if it's Scotty Young, but the art kind of looked like Scotty Young. And then the Kevin Smith is writing the Daredevil Green Arrow one, which I didn't have time to even get to that. But I do want to read that. So I think it's great that these companies are like, hey, you know what works better than both of us fighting against each other is when we work together so that we can both make tons of money. And that's how we get these crossover comics.
You team up against a common foe. And then when you meet again, you fight again. So
that's there is a great Deadpool Batman fight in this piece that is just funny. Like, I don't want to spoil everything for people that haven't read it yet, but basically it's like Deadpool's like, oh, I bet you're scared that I'm going to kill you. And Batman's like, no, I'm not scared at all. Oh, I'm probably going to stab you in the gut. And Batman's like, no, you're not. And he throws down like smoke bombs. And Deadpool's like, gag. I'm going to chop you like this. And Batman's like, no, you're not. And is like blocking him and doing, throwing batarangs at him and everything. It's executed very well. I don't know. You guys need to read it yourself and feed some thoughts. Final question. We got a lot of questions this week.
Oh.
This was out of Deadline, but James Gunn thinks that Green Lantern could beat up Superman. He doesn't say which Green Lantern, although we have 3 Green Lantern contenders. We have Hal Jordan and Jon Stewart, who are in the upcoming Green Lantern series on HBO Max. And then we've got Guy Gardner, who was just in the Superman movie. So he may be talking about one of those 3. I don't think he's talking about Nort or or what is the F. Sharp Bell Green Lantern.
Well, and most importantly, he's not talking about Alan Scott, who does kind of have a fundamental leg up on Superman.
Oh yeah, with magic, sure.
Traditionally, since Superman can't do stuff about magic, but yeah.
Yeah. So what do you think? What do you think of that statement there, Rodrigo?
Oh, I think absolutely. Like the problem with like the reason why you need a movie like Superman, like this last Superman movie, to sort of refresh Superman, is that people fall into this thing of like, okay, Superman is incredibly strong. His skin is impervious to bullets and stuff like that, but like there is a limit, right? There just has to be. And this idea that like absolutely Green Lantern could not defeat Superman is a problem, because actually Green Lantern's powers are whatever they want, or basically whatever they want that is kind of allowable by like their personality and intelligence and creativity, which is like an absolute angry orange to or sexy orange to Superman's angry apple powers, right? Where they're just like very strong, very tough, can fly, can shoot lasers. Green Lanterns is like, well, like, did they have a good breakfast this morning? Are they like really with it? Then yeah, absolutely. They can just like 0 point energy Superman, and he can't move because they've decided that with their energy generator like that, he can't move. And then they just shoot him 9,000, like open a portal, shoot him 9,000 billion miles away, and he won't be back until, next morning's breakfast. So you can deal with him then. Like Green Lanterns can just do that.
Matthew? How Jordan beat up Superman?
No. But I think it's a question of how you look at, questions of power, because I've always said that any who'd win story for me is what's the best story? What would be the coolest thing? And I honestly feel like a Green Lantern with the energy powers that they have, an energy generating being versus an energy absorbing being. So you absorb yellow sun radiation, you're doing your thing, you punch and you kick and you fly and you shoot eye beams. But the Green Lanterns are generators of energy. Could a Green Lantern defeat Superman? Yes. Do I think that has something to do with the way a Green Lantern comes into a fight, any Green Lantern, be it John or Kilowog or Guy, and the way Superman approaches a fight? Also, yes. A Green Lantern comes into a fight saying, how do I cut this off at the legs? How do I nip it in the bud? How do I stop this? And Superman comes in and he's like, cautiously, how do I not break everything?
Sure. So I think it's interesting. I think it's interesting that we're qualifying some of these Green Lanterns. Like, you don't think that Hal Jordan could do it, even though he's military trained and has test pilot experience. Doesn't matter. He could be a schmuck and still be able to military experience take down Superman.
He's a military. He's a
Well, he's a test pilot. He's got some training.
What's he, Air Force? Okay, well, he's
probably in the Air Force.
Now, I do think that John Stewart, with his military training in the Marines, would have the skill and the know-how in combat to take down Superman. What about? Let me just run through a couple of them. You tell me really quick. No, I don't need a long essay on whether or not these particular Green Lanterns could take down Superman. Kilowog.
Yes.
Rodrigo?
Yes.
Kilowog could, okay. What about Nort?
No, Nort doesn't know how to use his ring.
Yeah, no.
Okay. What's his name with the frill in the middle of his head? Tomar Ray, yeah.
No, Tomar Ray's dead.
Well, Tomar Ray alive.
Alive Tomar Ray? Still no.
Okay.
I think it depends. I feel like Tomar Ray and Despero not Despero, Sinestro.
Oh, Sinestro.
Mm-hmm. Kind of vibe in the same like mentor area, depending on what the writer was. Like whoever is like a guy who's like really good at the ring and teaching the new Green Lantern about it could. Otherwise, no.
And so that does bring up my next one that I was going to ask is, what about Green Lantern Sinestro?
Yes.
Also,
in fact, he has. Yeah.
Oh, he has taken him down?
Yeah.
Where at?
During the Sinestro Corps War in 2006 or 2007.
Okay. But he wasn't having his Green Lantern powers. He was yellow. Yellow.
Well, I mean, I'm colorblind. It's the same.
Okay. All right. That's interesting. Listeners, what do you think? Head over to the Major Spoilers Discord server and share your thoughts in the Major Spoilers chat. This is a general discussion. If this is the first time you're joining us, we don't always do this. We do this a couple of times a year. Where we just sit down and have a conversation about anything that comes up into our minds. Typically, we're reviewing comic books and trade paperbacks, and we hope you stick around for that. So that is what we're going to be doing next week on the show, because we are going to look at something called Tales of the Ghost Castle. Why? Because we know that you love comics, and we do too, and we will talk with you soon.
If I had the X-ray vision of a Superman, I could save a few bucks and stand around and read through the covers of the comics on the stand. But although every other page would be backwards, I suppose I could still read the evens and the odds. Well, I don't know. Guess I haven't thought this all the way through. Plus, as soon as the comic book store guy knew, they kicked my butt out on the corner. What a major spoiler. What a major spoiler. to find a better way. If I was hulking green or gray, I could just bust through that brick wall, take their comic books away. But then the little meat would deal with all the tanks and bombs and guns. Have you ever tried to read a series with all that going on? Guess I need to rethink this plan. How would I back and board my comics with such huge hands? Guess I already told ya what a major spoiler. What a major spoiler. Yeah, yeah, yeah. What a major spoiler. What a major spoiler. Stark raving rich like a man of iron. I might not be surprised to find that I might actually have the heart cold to follow an entire storyline. But would I really even need to read up on all those escapades? I mean, who needs such distractions when your sister's such a babe? But the downside is such a beast. Being shot up in a fun, be in the Middle East with a gang sign throwing soldier. What a major spoiler. What a major spoiler. Yeah, yeah, yeah. What a major spoiler. Whoa, 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 whoa. What a major spoiler.
This podcast is copyright 2025 by Major Spoilers Entertainment, LLC.